Hi everybody. Okay, I guess when you made as many videos as I have, you have to be patient or something because I wanted to do a video about a movie I saw. I've seen it a couple times, I think 3 times in all over the years. Um, so I put the title of the movie in the original video I was gonna make, but it didn't want to do. So then I don't know, but anyway, okay. The title of the movie is Another Woman's Husband. It's another one of those made for TV movies. Okay, it stars the main characters are Gail O'Grady and Lisa Rinna. And the man who they both fight over, kind of, without knowing, is Dale Midkiff. Now, I recognize him from he played Elvis Presley in the movie, and then he played in some Hallmark movies. Um, so yeah, okay. Um, so the story is kind of basic, you know. A woman, Gail Grady, married to him for a decade. Apparently, they've known each other since childhood, and you know, and then you're supposed to assume that their marriage has been on the rocks for at least a year. Meanwhile, in that year, he supposedly met Lisa Rinna's character um, at a coffee shop because they reminisce about how I won't spill coffee on you like I did the first time we met. Um, so, and you get the sense really quickly that well, obviously because he's playing two characters, which are coincidentally named Jake for when he's with Lisa Rinna and Johnny when he's with his wife, right? Okay, so having a critical eye and having watched it now 3 times over the years, I have questions, and some of them are rhetorical, and some of them I'm going to try to answer to the best of my ability. So that's what I'm going to do here because I could give you the plot and everything, but I do that all the time. So in this video, I'm going to do something slightly different and give you my interpretation of like what it made me feel like when I was watching the movie. And then inevitably we'll get everything anyway. So, okay. 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 Well, for names, Lisa Rinna's character is named Laurel, and Gail O'Grady character is named Susan. Okay. So then Susan is, well, I say a housewife, but also a swim teacher. And we get further along in the movie, and you realize that she did go to college, but she dropped out with 1 year to go to be with Johnny. And she thought that if she kept them close and kind of isolated, then she would get the marriage thing right because her mother was played by Sally Kirkland, but her mother was not the best mother at all because she played the blame game of, you know, well, I happened to have you at 16 and I decided to keep you. So the fact that my life is all messed up is kind of your fault. Is her vibe. Okay. Um, so, Susan, you kind of get the feeling that Susan has been beat down by life already. And then you couple that with she just has different ideas of what marriage should be, as opposed to like what people tell you, which is most people want somebody fully formed before they enter a relationship, and they don't want, no one wants to be responsible for someone else's enjoyment, happiness, which no one should be anyway. Everyone is responsible for their own happiness. That's what I believe. Okay, however, and then Laurel MacArthur is the complete antithesis of all that, because she has she has a mother, and she had a father too, but he's just since passed away, and you can tell that they had a long, loving relationship, the parents. So then they instilled in their daughter the confidence to be able to be yourself and not have to be, completed by a man. And that whole thing of you complete me is BS. And just for the record, I always thought that. I mean, whenever I would watch romantic comedies, I'm like, okay, you complete me? Come on. It works good for a line, but it's not reality. Just saying. Okay. So, so then you kind of feel bad for both women, because you can tell the relationship between Johnny and Susan is not going well and is not going to end well. You just know that because he's given her every signal known to mankind that this relationship is not working. I don't want to be here. All that. Okay. And in words and actions and just body language and every kind of way you can tell somebody I'm not happy, he's telling her. Now, she doesn't want to receive the messages, so that's another thing entirely. Okay. Meanwhile, Laurel doesn't know that he's married because he hasn't told her. And but she has the ability to call him on stuff a little bit so that he knows that she knows, but she's not needy. So it works in her favor. But ultimately, he lied to her the whole time anyway. So the relationship is doomed. And it's kind of it's kind of good, I guess, that the title of the video is ironic things, because ironically, what you want for Susan is for her to have the ability to stand on her own 2 feet. And you kind of want the relationship between Jake and Laurel to work out, but you kind of know it's not going to, because in the midst of all this, the two women become friends. And because I told you before earlier that Susan is a swim teacher, so she teaches Laurel how to be in the ocean or water, because in her childhood, Laurel saw her brother, um, okay, I'm just going to say it, drown in the ocean. And I think in today's terms, we'd say she had PTSD because of it. So, yeah. So, you know how it goes. Women start talking and they become friends. So then, when Laurel finds out that she's ostensibly cheating with her friend's husband, although she didn't know it at the time, she stops the thing, and they are able ultimately to renew the friendship despite everything. Okay, now my feeling when I watched that The first time, it was like, okay, cool, because it shouldn't be about a man. Now, looking back at it, I don't know. I'm for women empowerment and all that. I am. However, I don't think it's realistic that a, a woman and the other woman would be friends. Most people who, if you're in that kind of situation, either side of it, you probably don't know about the other people involved. And if you didn't know, you don't want to be friends with them. So, yeah, not really realistic here, but a good movie. If you just want something to, kind of relax and not think that much, then you can watch it. And, um, you know, I kind of like it in a weird way because it highlights the fact that not everybody comes from great, wonderful parents. And then ultimately, the person who came from that can rise above it and be better than the situation. So that's what I take from it. All right. Bye, everybody.